As you all know, that today is a historical day. The great hero of India took birth today. We call him Netaji, Subhash Chandra Bose. And today I'll discuss about his spiritual side and his adoration to his real guru for seeking the destiny of India and the world. Actually, as we observe his birthday, paying tribute, organizing many seminars and functions, exhibitions, highlighting his quotes. But I found it rarely the subject is discussed about his spiritual side. As I understood, without his spiritual side, Netaji could not have been Netaji. If we ignore that aspect of his life, it would be an injustice to him, because the whole personality of Netaji grew from his childhood, had a background of influence of his parents and the impact of Indian civilization, the Sanatana Dharma, which was imbibed into his whole life and his acts. When Netaji went to Japan and organized the Azad Hind Force there, which was originally founded by Rajbihari Bose, and later Rajbihari Bose handed it over the whole Azad Hind Force to Netaji for its fulfillment of the dream of independent India. It will be pertinent to mention here that Rajbihari totally was influenced by the philosophy of Sri Aurobindo's integral vision of India and her future. Often, Rajbihari said Sri Aurobindo as father, Pita. However, come back to my early mention of Netaji about organizing the Azad Hind Force in Japan. Did we know that Netaji often meditate in Ramakrishna Mission Mandir in Japan for a long period to seek the inner truth, and went into the oblivion, that is in meditative trance. And this is Netaji. The true work can be done. The selfless work can be done. Impersonal work without any desire, without any power hunger, can only be achieved and be sustained if the spiritual attainment is done. And Netaji had a deep seeking of spiritual consciousness throughout his life of his political career, more or less. When Netaji was fumbling about the future of India, if the India become independent, what will be her destiny? What will be her democracy? What will be the system of education, his culture? He was fumbling. Netaji wrote to his elder brother Sharad Bose that he had his deep influence of Vivekananda upon his whole life, and Vivekananda's Guru Sri Ramakrishna's influence upon his life is unquestionable. Even Netaji said that the influence of Shankaracharya was deeply imbibed in his life. Even then, he could not found the real path towards the future of India if India attains freedom. He was at that time in a dilemma when he was in Mandalay jail. In this situation of inner crisis, he received the writings of Sri Aurobindo. He read Sri Aurobindo's The Life Divine, The Foundations of Indian Culture, and his other articles. Thereafter, he could totally convince of the destiny of India and the destiny of man and its evolution of life. Then he confessed that Sri Aurobindo was his spiritual guru, and Sri Aurobindo should be the Manav Guru of the last century. And this was Netaji's devotion and the dedication to the path of India's spiritual destiny. However, politically, it can be said that there was some miscalculation probably from the side of Netaji when, after the disagreement with Hitler in Germany, he went to Japan and he made a pact with Japanese government to make free India from the clutches of British imperialists. And we can remember that during those days, Japan was the Axis power, had his close ties with Germany and the other Axis powers. Sri Aurobindo called it the anti-divine power, the Asuric power. The allied power was England, America, and other countries. So strategically, if the destiny could have been otherwise, that is, if German owned over the World War II, it would have been a curse for India, because Japan was the allied force of the Axis powers. So Sri Aurobindo said that the mother could well know about the Japanese history, civilization, because mother was there for some time. So Sri Aurobindo was convinced that if the result of the Second World War was quite contrary, that is, Hitler if could win, the Japanese imperialism was more fatal than German, because they were so brutal in those days and torturous, but destiny had his other turn. Hitler was defeated by the Allied forces. So Sri Aurobindo disapproved during those days of Netaji's decision of the pact with Japan to make free India at that time. However, thereafter, one of the lieutenants of Netaji, who was closely associated with him, had a meet with the mother in Pondicherry, probably, and he narrated the conversation, the ideas, the dreams of Netaji and his real attitude to make free India without having any compromise with the Japanese government if India won over. Thereafter, mother and Sri Aurobindo reverts his decision about Netaji because of his inner and true attitude towards India, that is, the India to make her free. Therefore, we can say from these discussions that we did not really think over about Netaji's inner life and his true philosophy of life and his spiritual inclination, and to make India on the basis of spiritual teaching, especially as Sri Aurobindo vision, which Netaji wrote to his brother about Sri Aurobindo's original contribution to India and the world. So, in brief, I want to say that we should recover and we should know the real, the hidden life and the true foundation of Netaji's philosophy of politics and his true inclination of spirituality as India highlights before the humanity. And to conclude this short discussion, I should say that Netaji ultimately adored Sri Aurobindo and said that to me Sri Aurobindo is my spiritual guru. Therefore, we must think over the impact of Sri Aurobindo upon Netaji in his political life, and thereafter we'll try to build our nation and the society and our personal life upon the spiritual values as India hails, and Sri Aurobindo in the last century unflinchingly proclaimed that India would be the spiritual guru in the coming days. Let us wait for that bright future. Thank you.